Maronnero Carmen, aiutici tu.
And benvenuti, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to another episode of the Napoli Rant. I am Raff Bizz, joined by my co-host, the vicar of Vesuvius, Raffa.
Ciao, bello, Raff Bizzarro, come stai oggi?
Tutto a posto, come sempre. Hello to you and hello to all of our listeners. Let's get this rant on the road. Napoli defeat Genoa at the Marassi. I say that right?
Marassi.
At the Marassi.
World famous.
The world famous Marassi, 2-1, thus holding the second place right behind Atalanta, neck and neck in a game that was really might have been a beautiful at first, but then just too close for comfort in the second half. Once again, kind of seeing a tale of two Napolis, but either way, a win's a win, right, Raffa?
A win is a win, and Napoli did what they had to do to get the job done. At the end of the day, it was a very entertaining first half. Second half was not as great, not as entertaining, not as good for us. But again, hold on to get the job done. Very good performance by Medet in the second half. The first half was, a lot of very good movement in the beginning.
That was probably my favorite first half, Rafa.
It was a good first half. Mind you, I had it on at the shop. It's Natale. It's Christmas time. It's busy. So, I got to see what I got to see. But, I was able to at least have an eye on it. And from what I saw, Napoli were just sort of really pressing hard at first to get those goals.
They were outstanding. They were outstanding.
Yeah. Well, on 4 minutes, right? On 4 minutes, Lukaku's header slams against the crossbar, and then a few seconds later, they have a he has another chance and just misses wide, and just a lot of fluidity, a lot of good crosses that connected, a lot of good play. David Neres strikes again with an assist to Anguissa.
Oh, the first
who
one.
Strikes again. Yeah, the first one. First goal. Neres to Anguissa? I think it was.
Yeah, it was Neres to Anguissa, and then Lobotka had the assist to Rachmani for the
assist
goal.
for Rachmani. And Rachmani gets ahead to it also.
Right.
McTominay ends up putting the ball in the net. It was flagged off for, I believe, an offside call. But, Neres once again brings the ball in, finds Anguissa, who's forward, like we talked about last week. Anguissa's having a freaking phenomenal season. It's funny, Ralph, because I was asked in one of the WhatsApp chats, personally, who would be top 100 Napoli players or top 100 in the world right now on Napoli? Like, who on Napoli? Let me rephrase all this.
Okay.
Who on Napoli would be top 100 in the world? And I put Anguissa in there. Actually put Anguissa. I said Anguissa would make the top 150. But I had Quada, I had Buongiorno, I had Di Lorenzo, and I had Lobotka in the 100. And I left Anguissa out and put him in a 150, but I think I might creep him back in there. So as far as right now goes, right?
Okay.
Like, we're not talking about of all time. I'm talking about right now.
Current. Okay. Does Napoli even have 100 top players all time? I mean,
oh no, not at all.
I mean, like, we could name maybe.
No, I'm talking about in the world, not just Napoli players. I'm talking about which Napoli players would be top 100 in the world.
Oh, wow. And Anguissa, you called for Anguissa for now.
Well, I'm putting him, I'm sneaking him in now. I think after yesterday, honestly, after the season he's been having right now, I think I sneak him in there. I think he deserves a shout. Definitely top 150. But anyway, back to the game, the goal for Rachmani came from a set piece, right? Lobotka's swinging it into Rachmani with the looping header. That was nice. It was good. It was good, man. The first half was very entertaining, very good, very dominating. And it's what we needed to go into the second half. Because a lot of times we're not scoring in the first half. I think a lot of people, you know, and I know you and I were just talking about it off the air, right? Patrick Kendrick had, who was the commentator for the match. We should have had him on for this one. I think we'll see if he can come on maybe in a midway. Maybe in a midway thing,
post holidays, we'll do
post holidays. You know what I mean? But I think him doing this match and then having the take that he had, I think we could warrant a chat with him because go ahead,
Raffa. Just for reference, the take was the thing that he shared on Twitter on X.
Yes.
All right. So let me just give a little bit of context to the listeners here. Mike Grella, during the CBS Golazo show, had something to say about Napoli. Now, it wasn't necessarily too bad. We'll get into it during this rant. It's going to be probably the majority of this rant. So that's kind of what's trending now. And he said that yes, teams, champion teams have to win the ugly games. They have to get lucky, but it's not sustainable. Now, mind you, didn't I think Grella heard. Raffa, I think Grella was listening in on the Napoli rant because
somebody was.
Didn't we kind of say this? I mean, we said this weeks ago, not for nothing.
We said this months ago.
So yeah, so I think I think people need to start listening in a little bit more. But I don't know now if we're gonna get haters for that. But listen, we're two guys that love Napoli, so you can't even say well, we're biased. No, we felt kind of, is this enough? Marco is saying that it could be, right? Marco Messino.
Yeah, Marco knows because the Conte way is what it is, right? I mean, the thing, I think the difference between, I can't speak for the Chelsea team that he won with, but I can speak for that Juventus team that he won with, and there wasn't that much of a counter to that team, right? I mean, Milan were second in the first season. Napoli were second in the second season. But it wasn't like Juventus was ever really threatened by their Scudetto wins in Conte's first three seasons, especially the first season when he had no Europe. They went unbeaten, right, in Serie A. They lost a bunch of games, but they won every other game. They never lost a game in Serie A. So I believe in the fact that when Grella said that it's not sustainable, like you need to have these wins here and there, but it's not sustainable. I understand where he's coming from, and I get it. But as long as the 3 points are in the bag, it doesn't matter how they get it, because you can have this beautiful Atalanta and this beautiful Inter, and then they have to play against each other.
Right.
And you can have this beautiful Atalanta who ended up losing, 3-2 to Como, right? They lost this season 3-2 to Como. They lost to Inter 4-0. You know what I mean? So you have this Inter who has not really stumbled too much yet this season, but can. And the thing is that as long as it doesn't matter how Napoli get the wins, as long as they get the wins, the win is the win. Is it sustainable? Maybe not, but that's what January is going to be for. But look at what happened. Buongiorno gets injured right after we recorded last week. And what happens? We're afraid Juan Jesus, what are they going to do? Are they going to change the formation? Are they going to are they going to really put Juan Jesus back there? They did. And here we are, and we win the game, Kvaratskhelia is out. We have David Neres. And in the games that Neres has started in place of Kvara, now I see Kvara came back in yesterday or this past weekend.
Well, yeah, he came off the bench for Neres.
So a lot earlier than we thought, because we were suspecting him to be out till January.
Which is a good sign, by the way.
It's a great sign. No. Listen, it's a great sign. It's a great sign. But Neres gets a start, and we score 5 goals in 2 games.
Something to say. Something to say about
Okay.
that.
Now, before that, we hadn't scored more than 1 goal since Milan, remember?
Right.
So here we are scoring goals, getting a little bit more comfortable, right? I know we gave up the first goal against Udinese. We went in 1-0 to the dressing room. I know that. I get that. I think also, though, Ralph, what I'm referring to, and then, at some point, I guess we'll get to the goal that Genoa scored, but I guess we went off on a little tangent here. But
all right,
at some point, make an effort to go to Patrick Kendrick's Twitter again or X, whatever, and look at the video that he posted of himself. If you scroll down, it's just after the video he shared with Grella. He comes out and vehemently is 100% against the fact that Napoli are title contenders. He says there's no way that they're title contenders this season because Napoli hasn't scored a goal in the first half in 9 of their 17 matches. And if you go by 45 minutes, Napoli would be in 7th place, 12 points worse than they are. If you were to just... I know the game is played in 90, and he said the same thing.
Sorry, Rob. I mean, listen.
No.
Patrick,
he says the same thing. He says the same thing. He acknowledges that. He says that. But what he's saying is that he's doubling down on Grella, saying it's not sustainable while Atalanta are scoring at will, while Inter are scoring at will. You know what I mean? And I understand that, but it doesn't matter. 6 goals, 3 goals. It comes down to points on the board. That's it. It comes down to points. One of those guys slip up. I mean, look, Inter have to play Fiorentina still in that game that they have to make up, right? Mm-hmm. They're playing Como today. I mean, they're going to win today. But, the point I'm trying to make is Atalanta. We talked about Atalanta's tough road that they have coming up, that at some point they will drop points. And it doesn't matter if Napoli are suffering all game. It doesn't matter. If the win comes, that's all it is. Now, against those teams, we have to find the will to score 2-3 goals. Right. That's where we're at.
Fair enough.
We could beat these teams. We could suffer and beat these teams. We could suffer and beat Udinese. We could suffer and beat Genoa. That's fine. Because it's very practical. It's not practical. It's very doable. But when we play against Atalanta, when we play against Inter, we got to find that extra something. You know what I mean? Especially Atalanta.
I agree, Raffa. But don't forget Atalanta. I mean, they stole those. They stole that win in the 86th minute. Now, hey, listen,
they sure did.
Fino alla fine. So I'll say that much. But that game could have been, was 4 minutes away from a draw. Them dropping 2 points and this race getting even tighter.
That's it.
Anything could happen. It doesn't matter.
And that's Empoli, who be fair to Empoli, they're top 10 team right now. You know
Did I say Como? I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you did.
All right. Either way. Which a game I took for them to tie. I said 0-0 draw for that one. Boy, was I wrong. But that's because the odds.
You said 0-0 draw for what? Yeah. Atalanta Empoli?
Yeah.
It
was just good odds. I put $5 on it for fun, honestly.
Bro, I don't remember what. I think the last time Atalanta went goalless in a game was against Inter in the second week of the season.
Listen, it was either burn the $5 to get some heat in my house or bet it on Atalanta. But I don't think I think. You know what it is? With Grella, it's like everybody is mad at him already. Everybody just distrusts this guy from the get-go. So now anything he's going to say is just going to piss you off, even if it's somewhat accurate.
I agree. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But at the same time, I think what some of us, because this has been going around, in our chats, in personal, I've seen it. I think some people are just upset that he had that take. You know what I mean?
They're upset with whatever take he has, Raffa. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like this guy, I don't think he can do any right.
The problem, but you're right. But I think what the problem is too is that he doesn't believe it's enough to sustain the season, while Messina does, and I do. I think, like I said, a win's a win, and if
Right.
somebody, it's whoever slips up first.
Right.
Is it likely to be Napoli? I mean, maybe but honestly, we haven't. The only slip up that we've had against a team inferior to us, right? Inferior means less than, right?
Right. Less than,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure.
You're inferior.
Dude, I consider myself to be somewhat smart, but yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure I said the right thing.
That's okay.
So against a team inferior to us was Verona, right?
Right.
With the first week of the season, no Kvara, second half, no Buongiorno, no Neres, no Lukaku, no
idea what we're doing. Right.
Not ready. We were not ready.
Not ready.
So that's the only team we slipped up against that were inferior to us. On the same level or better than, we lost to Lazio. Mm-hmm. We lost to Atalanta. Okay. Fair enough. Those are games maybe one might say Atalanta at home, but it's still Atalanta. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we're getting the results against the teams we have to get them against. It's against those other teams that we have to really show out. Like I said, Lazio, Atalanta. Those are, Milan we beat. Inter we tied. Juve we tied. Those are Fiorentina we have to beat in 2 weeks. It doesn't matter how we get the wins against these smaller teams. Suffer. We've got to find the way to beat the bigger teams properly. That's the only reason why I'd be worried about this season. Otherwise, it's whoever slips up first.
Right.
In my opinion.
Raffa, just to expand again a little bit on what Grella said. I think people are most in disagreement with him saying that this is not going to be like he is putting his money on this is not enough. I think here on the Napoli Rant, we said, will this be enough? I think it's yet to
questioning it. He's saying
questioning it. He's saying this is not enough. You're not going to win it. And I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't agree with him either. I think like there's still more to see. We've seen the Juves in the past grinding out these Scudetto wins, and it worked for them. Now, I don't think Serie A was as competitive during that big run that they had. I think it's way more harder now. I think any team could beat any team practically on any given day. Whether some of these small teams get to Europe or not is questionable, but they can come out any day and beat one of the bigs. So, you said, I'm with you, Raff. Like, it's going to come down to who's going to slip up. And I agree. I think wholeheartedly this season is going to come down to who's going to slip up, not who's going to have the most goals. I think that's going to determine the winner this year. And if we're talking about defense, right, because a slip up is what? Giving up bad goals, giving up wins, dropping points late in the game. So far, Napoli, at least I think, has shown that they can grind out a win. They can hold back the team. They could keep the team at zero.
Right. The only real problem they had against was Lazio. You know?
So for that, again, if you're a betting man, it's still kind of hard to determine. I wouldn't give anything away yet, but to say this is not enough, I think it's jumping the gun a little bit. It was kind of, I get the vibes from like 2020. What was it, 2022? When when we won the Scudetto, but everybody thought we were going to finish in 7th and Roma was going to win because of fucking Paulo Dybala. I mean, guys, listen, you got to put, you're going to be held accountable for some of these things. Y'all, it's like, I'm sorry, but everybody on CBS was riding hard on Roma because of this Mourinho Dybala effect. That this one guy was going to make up 16 points from what they had the season prior and win the freaking Scudetto. All the odd makers completely wrong. I mean, if you bet Napoli that year, you got a small fortune.
Yeah.
Because of the shit call that everybody made. Now, I can understand maybe not being fully confident in Napoli winning the Scudetto that year, but to put us in 7th and Roma in 1st, I mean, like, bad bet. And look at Roma now. They are in shambles, my friend. And that's just slowly trickling down. and they're going to need a whole revamp to get back at what they once were. So, and Napoli is still flying high. We're only getting better and better and better. So, aside from a slip up last season, but either way, overall, a couple dips here and there in form, but overall, Napoli have been on an upward trend for fucking over a decade, fellas and fellas. All right, you got to see the whole picture sometimes, and so does Grella. So I think that's where the frustration lies for the tifosi here. Is don't make a hard bet that this will not be enough or counting Napoli out, because you did it once and you were painfully wrong. Don't do it to yourself again. And I think Marco was right. I think, I actually responded on one of the posts on X, because they're saying that they're all biased. I have to defend Marco Messina again. And it's not because he's a friend of the show, but he really is giving Napoli as much credit as he can possibly give. I mean, he was from day one. Once we signed Conte, he was on the Napoli contender Scudetto train, and he's really going up against all his colleagues. I don't know what everybody's watching, saying that he's biased. I'm like, what are you watching? This guy has been calling Napoli since before the season, since the signing of Conte. He called Napoli a Scudetto winner, a Scudetto contender. Excuse me,
contender. Yeah, contender.
He's the only one, in fact.
Yeah, man, and honestly, if you really think about it, it's a smart take, because Conte can do these things. It's been documented. It's been done. It's just a natural look. Okay, right. Another thing Kendrick says is that to call these guys contenders after finishing 10th last season, just because of Conte, just because it's Conte, right? Is a little premature, or a little it's not a good take to just say, hey, Conte is the man who's going to get them to be a Scudetto contender. But I disagree with that too, because you're looking at a team that has finished 10th place, but you're also looking at 8 of the 11 starting members of the team were on the Scudetto team, were regular starters for the Scudetto team. So they won a Scudetto, then they finished 10th. So what version is this Napoli? What is this Napoli? Is this a Napoli that wins a Scudetto, or is this a Napoli that finishes in 10th? How do you view them? Do you only view them from last season? And I understand that too, because when a team wins a Scudetto, they automatically are favorites to win the Scudetto the next season, sort of like Napoli last season, right?
Right.
I mean, even though I think they had Inter over us anyway, because of and rightfully so, because we got rid of Spalletti. That's fine, but they were still in contention for a Scudetto, right? So what is this version of Napoli? Well, Spalletti's Napoli was a Scudetto winner. Garcia, Mazzarri, Calzona Napoli was not.
Right.
But is Conte's Napoli a Scudetto winner? And I have to say, right now, possibly, highly likely, you're only 2 points off of an Atalanta who's won 11 straight and done so in fashion that Napoli did in 2023 when they won the Scudetto, right? Scoring a whole bunch of goals, entertaining, deep, all this stuff, right?
Right.
And we're only 2 points off. This Napoli, the Inter from last season, those two teams had nobody to contest with. Nobody. And Atalanta has Napoli and Inter breathing down their necks. You know what I mean? So it's a very different season than the other two. And it's a different Napoli from the Napoli that finished in 10th place last season.
Raffa, and let's remind everybody that the Napoli that finished in 10th place last season had 3 coaches. They had a big issue.
Instability.
Yeah, huge instability. You had everybody who was checked out mentally. Look what it led to with Osimhen. Look what it led to with Cavada. Look what it led to with Di Lorenzo. We lost Elmas. We lost Ostigard. Who else did we lose? You know, Natan gets injured. We lost Kim. I mean, you look. It's conditional. You got to see the whole picture. I mean,
it is
yes,
conditional. It is conditional, and
conditional.
I think
last year was a complete mess, top to bottom, top to bottom. I mean, it took everything to break down for us to finish in the middle of the table last season. Like everything, like nothing worked, basically. Like nothing worked. And we still finished middle of the table. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And it was a pretty tight race. And it was still a tight race.
It was a tight race.
We could have bagged the European spot.
And we could have bagged the European spot, and thank God we didn't. Looking back at hindsight, you know, I was very upset we didn't. But still, it's how you look at it, right, Ralph? In my opinion, Grella and Kendrick are looking at it glass half full, half empty.
Right.
While Marco and ourselves tend to look at things glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
Napoli had a treacherous second half yesterday or Saturday. It's Monday, by the way, December 23rd. Buon Natale, everybody.
Buon Natale.
Napoli had a very, very bad second half. Meret bailed us out on numerous occasions. 3 times Meret made big saves to bail us out. But a good team has to have a keeper that when the time comes to step up, he's got to step up.
Right.
We had no Buongiorno. You know, the goal you could who's the fault for the goal against? You could look at it any different way, right? You could look at it in
you could look at it Lobotka, kind of like, you know,
Juan Jesus. It went through Juan Jesus's legs. I you know, people are gonna harp on Juan Jesus and how he gave up the goal, and this one gave up the goal, and that one gave up the goal. And you know what? They have a gripe with Juan Jesus, which is fine. Everybody does. Nobody likes him anymore. I mean, you can't not like the love he has for the city of Napoli and this team. He loves his team. He loves the city of Napoli. Is he the best defender in the world? No. Is he a good enough replacement for Buongiorno? No. Did he serve us well when Kim and Rahmani were injured in the Scudetto season? Yes. But after that, did he do well? No. But here's the thing. That goal was going to go in no matter who was there. If a team who's doing well like Genoa, the last 4 games they were unbeaten.
Right.
I know in the standings it doesn't look that way, but they've been unbeaten.
Form is form, man. Form is form.
Form is form. That team was going to score a goal, and they scored a goal. They scored a goal when we were 2-0 up. They could have scored 4 goals, but guess what? Meret came through. So I'd rather not look at who the fault is and what happened there. I'd rather look at we came away with the W without Buongiorno, and that's human.
Well, I think listen, Napoli could have scored 4 goals as well too, Raffa. I mean, in that first half, right? I mean,
sure.
Maybe we weren't as finish some of our chances.
Yes, absolutely.
That game could have been buried in the first 30 minutes.
We had the goal disallowed by McTominay, and we had Lukaku almost score 2 goals in 5 seconds.
Right.
You know, the header that hit the crossbar and the one that he just missed on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. That's another thing. You talk about a Lukaku who's not as good as Osimhen and this and that. And we harped on that a lot here, Bizz, right? We harp on it a lot.
I still mean it. I still think it no matter what.
Sure, right. But the attitude in the locker room is so much different than it was last season that right now, yes, if we had Osimhen, we'd probably be in first place over Atalanta. Maybe not by much, but still in first place, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that we're getting wins.
Right.
And the locker room is united with Conte. That's the point.
Right.
So everybody could talk about how it's hard to win and it's hard to this and Napoli having trouble and this and that. They're having trouble, but it's not letting them get to them because they continue to pull out results.
Exactly.
And every now and then they're going to lose a game. So will Atalanta, so will Inter.
Mm-hmm. No, but it is
going to happen.
No, you're dead on balls accurate there, Raffa.
Dead on balls accurate.
All right. The team
you finally hit me with my cousin Vinny reference, and I love you for that.
No, you're well, and Marissa Tomei, what a smoke show
Oh
at 50
my
years old,
God.
man. I still love her, by the way.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
I still love her.
I still love her. Anyway,
She's so
everybody fell in love with her in that movie. Everybody. She was like America's American.
That was one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Just so you
It
know.
was, hilarious.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Hilarious.
It's probably top 5.
They had a lot of big actors in there too.
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio, the judge, dude. Herman
The judge,
Munster.
yeah. Herman Munster, yeah.
Herman Munster. Yeah. That's what I call him. But anyway, yeah. Only the Napoli rant goes off the rails for Marissa Tomei and a soccer show. You gotta love it. But Raffa, I think it's time for our beast of the match.
Identical.
Yeah. Identical.
All right. Well, who are we doing? Beast of the match.
Beast of the match.
I would love to hear this.
I would love to hear it. Oh man.
All day, Ralph. We could turn this into, you know what? When Napoli are off next, we'll just come on here and talk about that movie.
Yeah, we'll just quote movies with Italian
quote
actors.
My Cousin Vinny.
Quote My Cousin Vinny. They thought they were getting arrested for a can of tuna. Anyway, guys, this beast, I don't think it was as difficult to choose, but I think it did come down to like two obvious people. And, I think ultimately... The two Utes? What is it?
I can't stop now. All right.
Are you on any drugs?
You on drugs?
No, sir.
I don't like your attitude. Well, that's a fucking surprise. We're quoting My Cousin Vinny, man. This is wonderful. This is Ali just walked in. What else is new? It's another one. What else?
For those of you who don't know, Ali is the Napoli Rant's general manager, so please get acquainted with her. She does a wonderful job here.
You're now in contempt of court. What else? Go ahead. What else is new?
I think I get the point. No, I don't think you do.
Oh my God! All right, we're off the rails now.
We're off the rails.
Let's go. Beast of the match. Wrap this up.
Quick cough.
Wrap this up like a Christmas gift.
Let's go. But here it is, guys. Here it is. Ed per Napoli. La bestia della gara. Con il numero 1, Alex Meret. Yes, fellas and fellas. Alex Meret kind of steals it. He stole this piece of the match.
He sure did.
Because Anguissa, once again, with quite the performance. I mean, first half.
Anguissa's second man of the match in a row.
Yeah. I mean,
by Serie A.
Well deserved. But what ultimately tipped the scales to Meret for this beast was the fact that despite Anguissa's great performance the whole game, he did kind of botch a little bit of that defense. That was one of the catalysts to the second goal. Fine, fair enough.
Right.
We held Oliveira accountable for what he did against Lazio, and that misses the beast. So Anguissa, with that little thing, misses the beast. However, Alex Meret certainly earns it. 3 stellar saves. Stellar saves.
One of them was at 2-0, and the other 2 are at 2-1 to save it. Honestly.
Yeah. And it's beastly because without that, Napoli does not win this game. Mm-hmm. And we all spoke about a dreaded, second half, if you will, and how Napoli kind of takes their foot off the gas, leaves a little bit of space for Genoa. But here comes Alex Meret, again, with those wonderful reaction, point-blank saves. And to me, saves the day. I think, thanks to his performance, Napoli win this game away from home.
Yeah. Meret coming up really big. And like I said earlier, it's something that a championship team or a championship contender needs. Sometimes you need your keeper to bail you out, man. And, it's an aspect of the game. But there's too many reactionary things happening. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Too many reactionary takes. I realize Napoli played really bad in the second half, but with a keeper like, and listen, Mehmet has made a lot of mistakes in the past. Trust me, he has. But when I think for a fact that you're a team that's in contention when you have a guy like that making those saves for you, he hasn't really given up a lot of too many blunders, too many howlers this season, and he's been more solid than normal. I think he's even had a beast in the first quarter.
He might have,
I think of this season so far. So kudos to Mehmet. And avanti così. Napoli hit the road. No, Napoli actually go back home now, right? To Venezia. Venezia. That's this Sunday.
No, they'll be home. They'll be home. They're playing at the Maradona. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You said on the road.
Yeah. They're home at the Maradona, and then I believe they're home against Fiorentina after the New Year.
No, they'll be away.
Are they away? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that Fiorentina game is the last game of the first round of the first, the andata.
Gotcha.
So that's where the halfway mark is. So we're at the halfway mark, and this weekend, Christmas weekend, by the way, everybody have a very safe and Merry Christmas, hopefully. But we have Fiorentina Udinese today. Actually, it's Monday, the 23rd, like I mentioned. So actually kicking off in minutes is Fiorentina Udinese, and then Inter Como. And then we go to Friday. We go to Saturday, the 28th is 4 games. And in those 4 games, you got Lazio Atalanta. So that's a big one. Lazio Atalanta is going to be a big one. And Juventus Fiorentina. So those are big games. Milan Roma too is another that's interesting. But that doesn't really have anything to do with us. But the Juve Fiorentina and I believe in the Lazio Atalanta games, those are big games that we need to look out for.
Yeah,
we could end up winter champions, campioni d'inverno. We could.
Raffa, here we are, almost winter champions, neck and neck with Atalanta, first place, while they're scoring the shit out of things. But Napoli not contenders, man. I can't. Come on, this is why everybody hates Grella. Come on, guys.
I can't.
Napoli hate real.
I can't fathom how we're not contenders for this.
Mike Grella, who hurt you in Napoli? I need to know who hurt you.
It's his dad. His dad is a Napoli fan. They're Napolitan. They're Napolitan.
Do you hate your dad? Do you have daddy issues, bro? Like, is that what's going on here? Or did a beautiful Veronzola from Napoli break your heart, bro? What happened, Mike?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, Ralph, let me ask you this as we close up. What are your plans for Christmas? How are you spending Christmas?
Probably going to the brother's house. I'm working Christmas Eve, so I'll be home late. But yeah, Christmas going to the brothers as usual, having the roast beef dinner. Hanging out with the fam, the niece and nephew, and that's it, man. We're pretty low key,
Good for you. We stay local for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because we share the kids with their mom.
Okay.
And then we go down to my father and mother's. We go to Papa Rispo and Mama Rispo's. We're going to go down on the 26th. We'll be there till the 29th. There's a chance I watch the game with my dad on the 29th, and then we come back up. Not 100%. Not 100% yet, but...
Up in Yonkers?
Well, they live just north of Yonkers now, Mayapack. Right. They live at the edge of Westchester and Putnam County. So basically, Yonkers is the southernmost point of Westchester, and Mayapack is just over Westchester County. So they're about 40 minutes north now. But
Okay.
yeah, Yonkers. We left Yonkers, which was a good thing. But yeah,
It's an early game this Sunday, 9 a.m., right?
9 a.m. 9 a.m. That's probably why I'm gonna stick around and watch with them. Then we'll hit the road after that. But yeah, we're gonna be the rest of the week at my parents and with the kids, and everything's gonna be it's gonna be fun, festive. We do the fish on Christmas. They're gonna do it again for me because that's my only present I want from my parents.
Yeah. Just cook
dinner,
the fish.
dinner
Cook
again.
Bacala.
Yeah. Bacala. We're gonna do a nice octopus sauce with some clams too, with some vongole and my dad does an escarole pizza. Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing that week?
Sunday?
No, the whole week after Christmas. What are you doing? You working still?
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably have New Year's off and things like that, but I don't know. We'll talk off air. We'll figure.
Maybe you come up and spend a few hours at the Rispos.
Sure. Yeah. Let's work
have some of
something
my
out,
dad's
bro. I would love to
scarol pizza. Oh,
all right. I could never refuse a nice scarol pizza. Tempt me with a good time. Well, I'm going to be making the escarole. I'll be making the scarol this week. It's gonna be the last big week in our industry, and then it's gonna really pipe down for January.
Yes,
so
yes.
We'll see. But yeah, that's all the time we have. I know we got to get out of here, Raffa. So next week, Napoli Venezia, 9 a.m. Sunday. Guys, get in the Discord. We had an awesome watch party again. By the way, Raffa, I know you were busy, but
yes,
nice
I will be in. I will be in the next one. Sure.
Maybe we'll do like the Breakfast Club watch.
100%.
Let's get in, folks. But until then, Forza Napoli sempre.
Sempre. Ciao, Raffa. Buon Natale.
Buon Natale, everybody.